And welcome back to This and That. Recently, we had a chance to visit one of the oldest structures in the region for hometown history.
Hometown History, brought to you by Forest Hill Cemetery.
Official date we use mostly is 1797, but we feel like that in the studies we made at the University of Georgia and so forth, that the house was actually built in stages by other than John McDonald, who they say built it, and it was probably built sometime in the 1770s, which would make it more closer to 240 years old. This would have been a fine house in its day. The Cherokee houses mainly were probably one little section with the dirt floor in them. This house is a modern house compared to that. Of course, there was. I'm sure that there was large families lived here over the years, and it was just a great house. These logs are the original old logs right here in this house. These logs were cut 200 years ago, 200-something years ago, and you can walk in here and say, my goodness, the kids will walk in here and they'll say, where's the light switch, or how do you get your water, where's your water? We say this, you had a spring out here, you had the candles if you wanted lights, but it's living history, and we try to tour people through this house and show them the way it was, and explain to them the importance this house played, and not only the Cherokee history, but all up through the 1800s, through the war years, and all up through the McFarland years and all that.
You have some of Chief Ross's items here, too.
Yeah, we have some fairly interesting artifacts. We don't keep a lot of things down here, but we have a table, for instance, during the Cherokee removal, the houses were lotteried off, the furniture and everything, all the possessions, they were taken away from them, herded off. But this table that's in this, what we call the kitchen area of the house, actually belonged to this house. It was left in this house and was won by lottery for some family that gave it back to us when the house was moved in 1963. We have a bow in here that a family brought us also that supposedly passed down in their family that John Ross made as a little boy when he lived in this house. We have some stoneware on the table, the original table in here that was a gift from the Queen of England to John Ross. We have a bed suit in here, a bunch of furniture here that came from the John Ross estate in Oklahoma. It was wedding gifts to his granddaughter, or his daughter. And we have some interesting things, I think, to show people. Most people want to see the tunnels and secret room. Now, when this house was moved, if you go upstairs later, you'll see that there's a doorway cut into that end of the house. And there wasn't a doorway there until they moved the house over here. They was put in here specifically to show that room is there. But we don't really know the use of that room. Of course, we're talking 200 years ago, more. And so we think that probably it was a storage room because there were other things built on the house also, like long-shaped buildings and things. But most people will say, where's the tunnels? Does the tunnel go from the spring to the house, And when the house was moved, there was no tunnels found, but of course they could have been caved in by then.
How important of a figure was John Ross to not only the Cherokee Nation, but even the beginning of the United States?
He's very important. He was, of course, the principal chief elected in the late 1820s, and was principal chief for 40 years. He was a highly educated man. His father and grandfather saw to that. He was only 1/8 Cherokee. He was 7/8 Scotch. He was able to go to Washington, D.C. and any of these little legislators or whatever around here and argue the points for the Cherokee Nation. His people loved him for that and elected him chief, like I said, for 40 years. I try to encourage you. First, I'd ask you, what do you know about history? And if you say, I don't know anything, or I don't know what that is over there, I'd say you need to come over and look at it because it's part of your heritage.
All right, folks, that is the John Ross home located behind the Bilo in Rossville. Stop by, take a look. A wonderful, wonderful structure and a piece of history.